All right, this is the handle. This is the brains of the HiPod mechanism. I'm going to show you how to attach it and how to engage it with the head. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the squeezing collar, and I'm going to mount it. All right, so I get behind the HiPod and I make sure all the collars are facing me, and I align them and I align the head. I'll do that in a second, but let me first attach this to the HiPod. Okay, so there, just by squeezing that. Now as I tighten it, it engages on the tubes, right? So I've squeezed it enough so it's squeezing the tubes. Now you notice the cylinder moves independently. Now what I'm going to do, as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure all the collars are in line, this is in line with the collars, and you want to make sure that the head's in line. So by opening up the collar of each of the tubes, I want to make sure everybody's lined up. Now that we have the handle attached, I want to talk about the ropes. And this is the key. All right, I'm going to loosen this. If you have your handle and the ropes are like such, if the ropes are facing up like this, this is totally incorrect. You're not going to get any rotation out of this. That's why you need to follow these arrows. One rope has to go on one side of the cylinder, and the other rope has to go on the other side of the cylinder. That is what's going to give you, when I create a little tension on this, that is what's going to give you the full rotation, the 180 degrees of rotation. All right? If you follow this rope all the way up to the head, you'll notice that it's a straight line on either side. Okay? Just make sure that the ropes extend from one side to there, to one side of the pulley, and on the other side of the cylinder to the other side of the pulley. Make sure your ropes don't crisscross. If they crisscross, that's going to cause problems. If the ropes are like this, you know, where the screw is facing up and the ropes are going straight up to the head, that is bad too. You got to make sure it's facing down, and one rope goes on one side of the cylinder, the other rope goes on the other side of the cylinder. All right, we'll go into more detail, but that is the rule. That is the one thing that makes this use of the handle very simple. All right, ropes on either side of the cylinder, a straight line up to the pulley, no crisscrossing. All right, I have now attached the handle to the head, and I've extended the tube slightly so to create the tension in the rope, so you can see exactly how it functions. Notice that this bolt should be facing somewhat in this orientation and down. It shouldn't be up like this, because it doesn't work in that capacity. It should be facing down with the ropes going on either side. Notice, see how there's a straight line up to the pulley? As I turn it, the pulley moves. All right, as I turn, it's very easy to rotate. I can get 180 degrees of rotation when I do this. All right, now we're going to get to the most important part, elevating your HiPod tubes. All right, I'm going to, the key to all this is the cam lock. The cam lock is closed in this position, that's open. Or this is closed when it's down, and this is open. When it's in between, that's nothing, and that's bad because it can pop into the open position, and I'll show you why that's bad. But let's start. I've opened the cam lock. What you want to do is hold the tube and open and elevate. All right? Now I'm going to lock it here just for a moment to show you. All right, now you've got tension in the ropes here. You've got a straight line, and the ropes you're extending here. So hold the pole, loosen the cam lock, and elevate. Go to the white line. Okay, and then stop. All right, that's one tube. Notice that there is there's this Velcro piece, and that helps you attach the cabling down the side. But notice also this little hole here. In the lower stages, you'll notice these pins. It's just to reinforce and create a little extra security. But, okay, that's the first collar. Now let's go to the second collar. Notice you got your Velcro here to run the cables down the side. Hold the pole, loosen the collar, and extend. Go to the white line, and stop. We've elevated the first stage. Now let's elevate the next stages. So it's stage number 2. You can see it's already open. All right, it's open, and it's okay in this stage because it can't fall. It's already at its lowest position. But always remember, hold the tube, then open, then extend. All right? You go till you see the white line, or, okay, there it is, and then I lock. You don't have to go to the white line. There are some situations maybe you don't want to fully extend. Let's say it's extremely windy. You don't have to go 31 feet. You can go 20 feet. All right, that's the white line. Now let's go to the next stage. Now if something starts differently here, you'll see these pins. Hold the collar, hold the tube, excuse me, open the collar and extend. All right. Okay, there's the white line. Now I close it and you'll see the hole. There's a hole right here. Now this pin is a safety pin. I extend it through the hole, and if I want to, I can let it rest against the collar and close it again. This way, this tube is never gonna collapse. All right, now we've elevated 3 stages. We're next to the 4th and 5th, and the 6th is the one that's already in the base. But let's elevate this 4th stage, and I'm going to do something here a little that you haven't seen yet, and that is there's a collar at the top of the base with a cam also, and if I tighten this, it acts as a drag, but in this case, it acts like a second set of hands, a second helper. And as I'm starting to use a little more force by lifting these tubes, what it's doing is holding this one to the base. So if you don't do that, it potentially can lift the tube out, the pin out of the hole at the bottom. So this is a really nice little feature. But let's go ahead and start lifting tubes, or elevating the tubes. Hold the tube, open the collar, and lift. All right, lift to the white line. All right, insert the, let's see what I got here. There. All right, insert the tube or the pin. And now we got the last stage. Okay, so that's that stage. Now let's go this one. Hold the tube, open the collar, and lift. All right. It's possible you can twist the tube, just make sure it's all in line. All right. Okay, squeeze that. Insert the tube, pin. Now, you've got all the tubes extended. You still, now let me loosen that so it can spin again. All right, you got the tubes moving. You can tilt the head. And now we'll go into the monitor and the electronics. Next, we're going to talk about how to mount the LCD to the HiPod. Obviously, this is the 6th stage, and this is the LCD bracket for it. Notice the spacer. This is if you ever wanted to convert it from, this is actually the way you'd use it on the big unit. This is how you'd use it on the mobile unit. It's more of a spacer that makes it fit a smaller tube, but that's not the important thing right now. This is how you open it and attach it to the tubes, and I'll show you that. And this is where we slide the LCD and tighten it. So, I'm going to do this. Attach it to the tubes. Notice it goes above the handle, all right? And simply twist this screw to tighten it. Now, what's interesting about this bracket and the tubes, obviously I'm putting it on the lower tube, but you can put it on the next stage up here, which means that instead of looking down at your monitor, you can be looking straight at your monitor. So this can go up on this stage, and that can go as high as 9 feet. Next, I'm going to show you how to mount the LCD. This is the 9-inch screen. There was an earlier 7-inch, now we've moved to the 9-inch. On the back of the 9-inch is a position where you can slot, put it like a hook. This is what we call the hook and slot design. All right, this piece here has this hook and slot design, and I'm going to turn it here. Hopefully you can see the close-up. There's a little sliver here that just slides right into the back of the LCD. You tighten it simply by tightening this screw. Notice that I haven't put it all the way to the top, because I think that it can cause this part to break. It's not, I think, truthfully, I think in the center right here is the best spot for it. The reason I mention it, people might have a tendency to try and tweak the LCD like this. I encourage you to loosen the cam lock and then reposition and lock. That's a much better way to do it, and I think you'll have better luck in terms of long-term preservation of the back of the LCD. Now we're going to discuss how to provide power to the LCD and to set up the electronics for the HiPod. First, the monitor requires power. It doesn't require that much power, but it requires power. This battery pack will power this LCD for close to 8 hours. So this is great. Now, remember, this is the one thing you got to remember about electronics with the HiPod. never try and connect this directly to the LCD. There's a cable that goes in between the LCD and the battery pack. The pins on this are 5 pins, and this is 4 pins. In the past, I've had people they would try and cram this 5 pin into the 4 pin. Just remember, there's a cable that goes in between the LCD and the battery pack. Now, let's show you that cable. Well, first, let's actually attach the battery pack to the base. You can use this battery pack in a number of ways. You can actually wear it around your waist, you can put it over your shoulder, but in this case, for the most part, to make your life easier, all we do is typically just put something, double loop it around the base, okay? And you just kind of snap it in place. All right, there we go. So now it's not going anywhere. It's gonna stay right here. Now next, as I mentioned, the cable. Match up, this is male, this is female, 5 pin, 5 pin. It snaps into place. The way to disconnect it is to push the button. You can't disconnect it unless you push the button. All right, so there is a professional XLR connectors. Now, with that said, this goes into the battery pack. Let me pull it up. All right, this is for the charging, but this is the 4 pin, goes into the 4 pin. All right, so it'll snap right in, push it in, and it snaps. Okay, now you've got the power going from the battery pack to the LCD. If I turn it on, you'll get typically a blue screen saying, hey, no signal. So we need to get a signal. That's our next step.